Welcome to Audi TV. Since the beginning of the new DTM 10 years ago, Hockenheim was always the venue of the opening and closing race of the season. Today marks the first time the track in Baden won't end the DTM season. Instead, Audi will take off into the German finale of 2010 here, before it closes the DTM season with races on the Adriatic and the new Shanghai DTM courses. But one thing has remained of the second race at Hockenheim: it attracts a number of celebrity motorsport fans. Everyone shows up when the DTM arrives in Hockenheim. Singers, sports stars and actors. Entertainer Stefan Raab discovered Stefanie Heinzmann through his casting show. Ever since, the 21-year-old singer from Switzerland not only chooses where, but also for what event she performs. I played here today for the taxi ride. They actually allowed me to sit in the passenger seat and I was really shaking. That was so awesome. It was really cool, especially for such a baby like me. I'm really into roller coasters, so sitting in the passenger seat of such a car was just perfect for me. Jochen Schumann felt perfectly excited too. The sailing team Germany and two-time America's Cup winner also attended. Schumann wanted to pay back for the DTM visit by inviting the Audi drivers to sail with him at the upcoming Audi Med Cup as the 13th man. I think motorsports and sailing have a lot in common. They are both complex technical sports and Audi brings us both together here. Audi sponsors sailing and obviously they also drive here. Ex-biathlete Katie Wilhelm and Audi have also been connected for a long time. After the three-time Olympic winner hung up her rifle and skis this year, she was able to get to know her former sponsor in Hockenheim from another perspective.
Super.
Awesome, totally cool, that was great. Were you afraid? Sure at the beginning, but then the rest of the time I just had a huge smile on my face. We talk shop with 1990 football world champions Andy Bremer and Karl-Heinz Riedler. Air Riedler, the miracle header, found out at the DTM what a relaxed experience he had as a football player back then. It's interesting to compare it to football. It's amazing what the boys here have to accomplish in the competition. We were shut off from the public hours before the games, whereas these guys still have to sign autographs and do the meet and greet. Totally different, but fascinating. Even if it's no longer the final race, the second race at Hockenheim is still something really special. It's simply a little more than just motorsports. The ordinary German tourist on holiday is a nightmare for every Spaniard. At least that's what they say. But Miguel Molina has a different opinion. Funny. A good man. Dangerous. Gone in 60 seconds. Tasty. The DTM has announced the upcoming dates for the next season. Learn more in the news. BMW returns to the 2012 DTM. The Bavarians announced their intentions in April already. For the first time since 1994, they wanted to line up in the DTM. Dr. Mario Tyson, the BMW Motorsports Director, made the official announcement of the White Blues' return in Hockenheim. Yes, it's really a great day for us. We worked very intensively over the last 6 months so that this could happen. One thing we focused on was the 2012 format, since there will be new regulations and new vehicles. Another thing was our request that these new vehicles should not only be able to drive in the DTM in Europe, but also in Asia and the US. And over the last 6 months, we were really able to get a great perspective on it. Based on that, the DTM is the program for us. BMW won the DTM Championship 3 times, one of which was the founding year in 1984, with Volker Stritzek driving. 11 races in 6 countries is the lineup for the 2011 DTM race calendar. Back in the game is Austria's Red Bull Ring in Spielberg on June the 5th. But the highlight is the race at the Munich Olympic Stadium. The 2011 DTM schedule starts in Hockenheim on May the 1st and is scheduled to end in Shanghai on November the 6th. Alexandre Prémin is not just into car racing, he also runs. He started in September with the 16-kilometre or 10-mile run between Paris and Versailles. And then came the 20-kilometre or 12.5-mile run in Paris on October the 10th. But the Frenchman was just warming up for the New York City Marathon in early November.
Yeah, my aim for the marathon is to run quite with a lot of speed, more or less in average with 13 km per hour. So which means that I should do, my target is between 3 hours 10 and 3 hours 20, which is quite already a really good time for the first time.
There were 8 opening races and 8 finals here on the Hockenheim ring since 2002. But for the first time, a new variation of the track will be presented this weekend. Alexandre Prémin will explain the differences.
So for the first time, we are not going to use the Parabolica. We are going to use the new shortcut. It's a new corner. It's really nice for drivers. It's a new challenges as well for drivers and engineers, which means that the number of laps will be 47 laps tomorrow. So strategy will change, brake point for driver will change, overtaking will change. Quite a lot of parameters, I would say, for the new track route, only for 800 meters shorter. And then after that, we are going back to the normal racetrack to Mercedes Arena, then to the right, then to the entry of Autodromo. Then it's a key point in Zach's corner. We can have the possibility to overtake someone if we're braking really late. And then we come back. These 2 corners are really important as well, because this corner is one of the quickest one. It's 200 kilometers per hour, so which is quite hard and to go through, because we are hitting both curves inside, outside. And then we are going in 6th gear, going down to second gear, and then we come back on the new corner, and we will see at the race.
Timo Scheider's quest for the championship finally ended after his tyre damage in the 34th lap in Oschersleben. Matthias Ekström is the only Audi driver left in the battle for the DTM crown. There are 26 points between the Swede and Bruno Spengler, the leader in the rankings. Ekström started in 4th place in the season's opening race in Hockenheim, but the 2-time champion's performance in the last race didn't look like much of an improvement. 5th starting position in Zandvoort and 6th in Brands Hatch and Oschersleben. Even though he ended up winning a place on the podium, Matthias Ekström still had a difficult time during the qualifying rounds. Hockenheim became his personal Waterloo. In the last seconds of the first qualifying round, David Coulthard edged him out into 15th starting position. The last ray of hope in the battle for the title was definitively stamped out in the Hockenheim rain. The position is a catastrophe. The only positive thing is we'll have to go full out strategically as well as with speed. I go straight over to the engineers to see if they found anything. The problem was that I didn't have any grip with the rear tyres and only had oversteering. This morning we were doing really well, but after we'd changed the tyres we only experienced oversteering. We took that into the qualifying round. If you're 3 seconds slower, then you're dealing with big problems and not small details. Oliver Jarvis is also dissatisfied with his 9th starting position. Instead of driving on the road to success, the Brit simply drives next to it. What can't you say about the DTM rookie Miguel Molina? The Spaniard is in 2nd place after his 2nd session. But a rough departure in Q3 catapulted him into the 4th starting row.
Yes, it was a difficult qualifying for everybody because it was in wet, and also for me it was the first time that I did it. But yes, we're really close, like you said, and also I was a good sectors in my last lap, but I did a mistake, and like this it's easy to do it, and I did. So yes, tomorrow we'll start again in 8th position, so I will try to score more points.
But there were a couple of brilliant moments in Hockenheim's reign. With Mike Rockenfeller in the second starting position and Alexandre Prémat in the fourth, it was the first time that both Audi Sport Team Phoenix cars made it into the circle of the last four. It's the best qualifying outcome of the year for Prémat. Rockenfeller got a lot more attention for his fastest time in the free training, but he's starting in the first row for only the second time in his career. Rockenfeller has to surrender to only one man, Timo Scheider. The champion managed a perfect lap at just the right time. After finishing in third, first and fourth in the first three qualifying rounds, he secured himself his 9th DTM pole position with a second half advantage. It's not about Audi winning it all anymore. Now it's about individual successes. A good step in the right direction was taken in the qualifying round as the leader in the rankings, Bruno Spengler, starts way back in the 11th position and Paul Di Resta in 5th. Genius conquers chaos. The genius in Hockenheim is Paul Di Resta, who reaches the goal before both Timo Scheider and Mike Rockenfeller. Bruno Spengler takes care of the chaos. The start was perfect. Timo Scheider moves to the lead ahead of Mike Rockenfeller and Gary Paffett in third. Before he even reaches the first curve, Matthias Ekström pushes up to the 11th position from his starting place in the 15th. The chaos on the new track already breaks out at the start of the race. Spengler brakes too late, slides through the switchback and crashes into Miguel Molina. 3 Audis and 3 Mercedes fall victim to the mass collision. Spengler's not involved, but Markus Winkelhock is. While braking at the third curve of the new track, I was on the outside and suddenly I felt a massive hit. Someone drove right into the side of my car. I don't know who it was or how it happened, but that was the end of the race for me right there. Matthias Ekström feels the late effects of the collision after 7 laps. Ekström's and Audi's dreams for the championship title are over. I had a good start, passed a lot of cars and was right next to Martin Tomczyk in the switchback. Then I saw the mass collision in front of me. Then I think it was Ralf Schumacher who came up from behind me and hit me pretty hard in the back right. Something was damaged, so I went off for repairs. But a few laps later the entire suspension was busted and the race was over for me. There was commotion in Alexandre Prémat's box in the 14th lap, but the Frenchman drove to 5th place and was in arm's reach of a place on the podium.
On the fast lane, Jamie Green just came back from the pit stop. I was really close to the wall and it just hit me on the front right. I had a massive cut and it happened in the first lap that I have no air anymore in the tires and then I went straight on the gravel. That's why that I came back in the garage.
The championship leading Bruno Spengler dropped out in the 23rd lap, and Paul Di Resta seized the moment. The Scotsman stays on the outside for a long time and then is ahead of Timo Scheider by 18 seconds. Di Resta is also able to get ahead of Timo Scheider again after his second pit stop. With his 3rd win in a row, Paul Di Resta takes over the lead in the rankings. Sure, I wish I would have won today, but we just didn't have the speed that Paul had. I think he was also the only one on the whole track who could have done what he did. You have to congratulate him and give him respect for his performance. I don't know how he does it, being so dominant on the track even against his own teammates. But in this case he really deserves it. Winning 3 races in a row, he's really raising the bar high at the moment. The sparks flew at the finish line in Hockenheim, but only for half the drivers. 2 podium places for Audi as Mercedes stumbles for the first time this season. But one thing's for sure, the Stuttgarters will divide the spoils of victory amongst themselves. The season's trend seemed to have continued here. Audi was close, but once again wasn't close enough for victory. 2 places on the podium were great, but to be honest, with Paul Di Resta's dominance, it won't be easy to edge out a win in the last 2 races. But there are still 2 opportunities, the first in 2 weeks' time. Then we'll be at the race on the Adriatic course. I hope you'll be there too. Until then, goodbye.